Welcome back to my channel. I wanted to share with you um, just my thoughts that were inspired by the new Whitney Houston movie I recently watched. And I thought about how, a lot of us chosen ones, including Whitney Houston, have special gifts, very powerful gifts, and how many times other beings siphon that energy and use it to the extent that we drain the person, that person is drained of their own gifts, their own energy. There was a scene in that movie where she had a meeting with her father about the money that she made and how he mismanaged it. And as a result, she was going to have to go on a world tour. And that's essentially kind of drove me to want to talk about this concept of other people benefiting from the gifts of the chosen ones, and then them using it so that they can have the lifestyle that they desire based on mismanaging, misappropriately siphoning our energy to the extent that we have to continue to overexert ourselves at our expense. And I really feel strongly like that Whitney Houston, in many instances, did that. She overexerted herself. She overexerted her voice, overexerted her capacity to love and give to people that really were not managing her gift and her love in a way that honored her and allowed for her to be able to benefit from her ashe, from her energy. And in many ways, that's exactly what happens to a lot of us chosen ones. If we don't learn how to balance, how much we give versus how much we receive. And that is a critical aspect of this journey as well. And I do think that there are many times where learning that balance is tested. I've recently had that, happen in my life. And it kind of inspired me to talk more about it. So here are my thoughts on it. I kind of wrote something and I just figured I'd just read it to you. They bombard you with illusions of oppression so that you'll use your gifts to enhance their lives. They'll have you using your gifts and God-given favor only to receive far less of a benefit for yourself than what you are giving to others using your own free will. The key is not to give up your free will due to the illusion of not having enough. And that's where God really works with us on this scarcity mindset. Because if we continue to give in to the illusion that we're not enough, then we overgive. If we give in to the illusion that we don't have enough money, then we overexert ourselves. And typically, a lot of people who are utilizing illusions, meaning they don't have the gifts to create the things that they want for their lives themselves, what they will do is project an illusion of there not being enough. So let's reference Whitney Houston's situation when she had that conversation with her father. I was thinking at that time, what's happening is those financial statements are basically an illusion of the fact that there isn't enough money to go around. And that's what happens. These systems will allow for people, the people will actually manipulate the systems in a way that will create the illusion of lack so that we will essentially give in to that illusion and therefore go and work harder or go and do things that you overexert yourself when you don't really need to. And that is why, essentially, in that scene, Whitney had made the decision that what she would need to do is go on a big world tour based on the illusion of scarcity, the illusion that there wasn't enough money to support her family and herself. And I just think that's a very important concept that we learn along this journey, is to not give in to those illusions, because that is essentially a way of us conquering a scarcity mindset. And I feel like God facilitates this type of test by removing a lot of our material possessions so that we can gain a better understanding of the fact that we will always have security irrespective of what the illusions are being shown as. Because at the end of the day, the illusions are there. The illusions that show you that you don't have enough, that's really based on programming. I myself can tell you that I've lived under conditions that I didn't think were quote unquote ideal, but I still had everything that I needed. So I was conditioned to believe, based on all the indoctrination, that I needed to have, a 3-bedroom apartment with this and this and that in order to be considered secure. But once I had a lot less than that, I noticed that it didn't really change how I function in terms of my security. And at the end of the day, I was actually able to filter my energy into other directions instead of using the majority of my funds and my energy towards funding, a big 3-bedroom apartment, for instance. I was able to use my energy in a different way. So I was still fulfilled. I was still receiving abundance, just in different forms. And I feel like that's why God sometimes does have to put us in a position where he does remove certain material possessions. It's really only to introduce us to the mindset of, hey, you're going to be okay. You're going to be taken care of. You're going to still have access to love, joy, wealth, all the things that you want. But I want to show you that you can have security irrespective of what things look like, and to kind of give us that reassurance that we will always be taken care of. Because I feel like you kind of have to be put in that situation in order to appreciate that mindset. And when you appreciate that mindset, it's easier for you to attune to that mindset and align yourself with that, because you've already experienced it. So it's easier for you to align yourself with a frequency once you know what it feels like. And so I really do believe that that's why God in many ways facilitates us through experiences, being able to feel that frequency. I hope that wasn't too confusing, but that's how I am kind of seeing it in my mind's eye. And I just hope that that clarifies things for you. But thanks again for coming and listening to my channel. I hope that you are inspired and encouraged along your spiritual journey, and check back in for more updates.